Bram saves a fly, believing that God or nature did not create flies just for them to be killed. This act infuriates his teacher, who, without listening to Bram's explanation, sends him out into the hallway. Initially upset, Bram's spirits lift when he sees the fly drawing a heart in the air, leading him to wonder if perhaps his purpose in the world is to save flies. Bram is a child filled with curious thoughts, wondering why we cry when sad, why milk is white, and why we exist in this world. His mind constantly jumps from one thought to another, making his body equally fidgety. When Bram accidentally knocks over a vase, his mother doesn't show any displeasure or anger. Instead, she turns the cleanup into a fun game with the vacuum cleaner, which Bram enjoys. Next to his mother, Bram loves inventing the most. Bram keeps a notebook of the top 200 best inventions, with trampolines ranking first. His excitement over his sister's new trampoline leads to the 104th invention, Band-Aids, which prevent many accidents from turning bloody. Scissors also earn a spot on his list, as he imagines the excitement of tearing through things like flowers and hair without them. The toilet ranks 85th in his invention notebook, while the Nintendo gaming console is 25th. They often appear together, sometimes leading to unexpected situations where the 65th ranked hairdryer gets a chance to shine. However, many wonderful inventions don't make it into Bram's notebook, like blinds, which he thinks have too beautiful a name to be merely practical, and instead notes them in his Good Words notebook. Bram looks forward to enriching his Good Words notebook and eagerly anticipates starting first grade, imagining he will learn Chinese, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and even how to make rockets. However, his actual school experience is far from what he imagined, focusing more on rules than knowledge. Bram's habit of fidgeting with his legs during class deeply annoys his teacher, who demands stillness, something Bram cannot comprehend. He believes feet are made for moving, whether for skateboarding, playing soccer, or walking, and he cannot understand how he is expected to control their natural movement. Struggling to keep his feet still throughout a class leads Bram to an unfortunate incident where he accidentally kicks a ball that hits the teacher. Before anyone can react, Bram climbs a tree and pretends nothing happened, whistling nonchalantly. However, his risky behavior once again angers the teacher. After a few days with the teacher, Bram feels pity for her, realizing she doesn't understand the unreasonableness of certain demands. For example, when Bram's tooth becomes loose, all his attention goes to it. Yet the teacher only cares if he has completed his math homework, which Bram finds unreasonable. Bram, who is quite talented, can turn the sounds made while eating breakfast into beautiful music, tapping and drumming involuntarily. However, this talent is not appreciated by everyone, with his father demanding he stop and eat quickly. Clearly, not everyone can appreciate such talents, including his father and teacher. The teacher makes it clear to Bram's mother that students in her class must be well behaved and understand the rules, urging her to teach Bram some discipline, as it is crucial for his future learning. However, for Bram, learning is quite simple. He believes that by closely observing the things around him, he can appreciate the beauty in everything. Bram gazes at the stars and feels that the world is a beautiful place. He recalls how his teacher insisted he behave and stop saying but. Bram finds this odd because sometimes things are a certain way, but other times they are not, making bit an important word to consider. Realizing this, Bram decides to ignore the teacher's scolding and criticism. He knows that not everything the teacher says is right. The teacher may think Bram is silly, but Bram knows he is thoughtful. He ponders over many things, like what could be done with the leaves in the yard, or what would happen if he had no hands. He'd end up with food all over his face, but he'd have a perfect excuse not to wash dishes or brush his teeth. Bram decides to stay true to himself, but the consequence is that he's often sent out of the classroom and doesn't have any friends. During a gymnastics class, Bram can't wait to jump on the vaulting horse. Without waiting for the teacher's command, he dashes forward, accidentally pulling down the teacher's pants. The teacher yells, "I can't stand you anymore, get out, I don't want to see you right now." When criticism and negativity pile up, even the most confident child can become insecure. Bram sits alone in the changing room, feeling angry and upset with himself. First grade is proving to be a sad and disappointing experience for him. A new day begins and Bram doesn't go to school, thinking he's caught a school sickness and it's best to stay home. At home, Bram recovers without medicine. He hides in a cardboard box, creating a snowstorm with styrofoam peanuts when his mother approaches. Snuggling with his mother is the happiest Bram has felt since starting first grade. But happy times are always fleeting. In the evening, the teacher visits Bram's home and arranges with his parents for Bram to bring home any unfinished schoolwork. Just like that, Bram's last refuge is invaded. Whatever he does, his parents constantly nag him, reminding him to do his homework. Bram resists in his own way, causing his parents to become increasingly frustrated. As a punishment, his father decides to take only Bram's sister to the forest, leaving Bram behind. Left at home, Bram lies on the table feeling dejected and angry. His mother, seeing his sadness, asks, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Bram replies, "An inventor. I'll make a bus rocket and you and Dad can come on it, and we'll bring the little kitty too." Bram's mother tells him that if he wants to build a rocket bus, he needs to understand math or they might crash. He needs to know how important rockets are and how much fuel they use. This motivates Bram to fall in love with math, and his homework earns him a reward, a fountain pen. However, when ink spills on his textbook and Bram tries to clean it, it smudges, spreading further. Bram wonders if the human body can produce water, then do fingers sweat on desks or textbooks too? He presses his hands onto his textbook, leaving marks. The teacher sees this and scolds him for doing something so silly, saying it's like something a kindergartner would do. Laughter from the entire class follows, and Bram, deeply hurt by the kindergarten comment, is sent out of the room. After school, Bram runs into his mother's arms crying uncontrollably. His mother, furious, confronts the teacher, hoping she would truly understand Bram. The teacher insists she understands him well, claiming 30 years of teaching experience and labeling Bram as smart but not adaptable. She emphasizes that school is for learning and not fulfilling responsibilities can lead to problems. The teacher promises to help Bram through the first grade but stresses the need for parental support, stating that their interests align. Persuaded by the teacher, Bram's mother asks him to follow the teacher's instructions. Feeling abandoned by even his mother, Bram spends a sleepless night, fearing the school as a monster that could devour him. Bram skips school, contemplating how his teacher knows many complex things but fails to understand simple matters like the need to move or to speak kindly, things many don't comprehend. Even his mother, who once understood, seems to have forgotten. Bram resents his now uncomprehending mother. When she discovers Bram's absence from school, she becomes frantic. While searching for him, she realizes how much Bram detests school and the torment his young soul endures. She hugs Bram and weeps. Bram's parents meet with the principal to discuss the teacher's problematic interactions with Bram, hoping for mediation. The principal responds that managing 28 children like Bram would be chaotic and advises the parents to talk seriously with him. The conclusion is that Bram needs to learn to adapt to rules. Bram's father's approach becomes increasingly harsh while his mother's remains gentle and soothing, leading to arguments and filling their once happy home with tension. Bram, feeling worthless and fearing his actions might cause his parents to divorce, believes he's only good for causing trouble, not for inventing or creating. Bram destroys his drawings of the rocket bus, reluctantly accompanies his father to school, and even prepares for a lesson on tigers in advance. His ability to associate one topic with another is seen by the teacher as daydreaming. When asked to catch up during break, Bram insists he knows everything about tigers and recites facts, but the teacher, lacking patience, interrupts and leaves with other students for an outdoor activity. Left alone in the classroom, Bram, frustrated, flips through his textbook and accidentally tears a page, aggravating his anger. He throws the textbook, then regrets his action. Attempting to retrieve the book from atop a cabinet, the teacher enters and, seeing the scene, becomes furious. In the ensuing chaos, the teacher falls and suffers a severe leg injury. Blame falls on Bram from classmates, the principal, and his parents, further isolating him in his struggles. Bram vigorously jumps on the trampoline, wishing to leap high enough to leave this world behind, yet no matter how hard he tries, he cannot succeed. The school's principal makes it clear to Bram's parents that Bram must change or else he will have to transfer to another school. In response, his parents create a detailed plan for Bram to live by society's rules, aiming to mold him into a conventional person. Bram's life is filled with criticism and rarely any praise until the arrival of a new teacher who saves him. This teacher, upon noticing Bram's constantly moving legs, does not scold him, but instead encourages the entire class to stand up and dance. "You're children, you should move around as much as you want." This exhausts the kids, making them surprisingly well behaved when it's time to resume their classwork. To accommodate Bram's abundant energy, the new teacher assigns him tasks like delivering homework and fetching documents for the principal. Bram becomes popular among his peers and excels academically over time. The new teacher also advises Bram to apologize to his former teacher. Bram is puzzled, not understanding why he should apologize when he wasn't at fault. A new friend explains that sometimes unintentional actions can still hurt others. Bram bakes an apple pie and apologizes to his former teacher, managing to say the difficult words, "I'm sorry." Bram gradually adapts to life in first grade, hanging a "Do Not Disturb" sign on his room door to invent and create without causing inconvenience to others. His parents discard the rule sign, allowing him to be himself. When the former teacher returns to school, Bram has something to say to him. "I'm sorry for hurting your leg. It wasn't intentional. I've thought a lot, and I hope you believe me. This is who I am, sometimes not so good but mostly good, and I can't be someone else." The teacher accepts Bram's apology and, while standing up, accidentally kicks over a drink. See, feet are meant to move, right? The students gather around, drawing on the teacher's cast in a harmonious classroom environment. Eventually, the teacher returns to teaching with a healed leg, altering his educational approach of over 30 years to one that is much loved by students. The new teacher is officially employed by the school, working alongside the previous teacher to support the growth of Bram and his classmates. Bram is satisfied with his life, understanding something more important than the knowledge he initially sought. "I am me, with strengths and weaknesses, but interesting and never boring." Fidgety Bram is a Dutch comedy educational film praised by many who wish their parents had seen it, potentially sparing them from harsh discipline. Adults often take many things for granted, like swatting a fly, crying when sad, or assuming milk must be white. Bram questions which child wishes to be bad. He suggests that by closely observing the world around us, we can see its beauty. This principle could also apply to adults. By carefully observing their children, they might discover how wonderful they are. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.